For today's DC Multiverse review, we are looking at the Mcfarlane Collector Edition Black Canary. Before I talk about the accessories and the figure, let's take a quick look at the data profile card. As you can see, there is this beautiful comic book artwork of Black Canary. On the backside of the card, you do have a read-up for who the character is. Her real name is Dinah Drake Lance, and it reads, Black Canary has been many things. Black Ops agent, fugitive, superhero, and rock star. She has trained with some of the best martial artists in the world, and her canary cry gives her an edge in combat. She was a key member of Team 7, and later founded the Birds of Prey, fighting alongside Batgirl. She has also been a member of the Justice League of America. And that is a pretty good read-up on who Black Canary is as a character. And now, let's move on to the accessories that are included with this action figure. So let's start with the most obvious accessory. She does come with a cloth goods jacket, as you can see on the figure. This is on the figure by default in the packaging, but it is removable. So you can have her displayed with the jacket or without the jacket, depending on your preference. And for the next set of accessories, she does come with a set of interchangeable hands. Now, since this figure is reusing the same body buck as Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, and Power Girl, these are the same sets of hands we have seen before. So she does have two fist hands, which I do have currently equipped to the figure. And for the next two set of hands, she does have the item holding hands, or trigger finger hands, as I like to call them, because you could have her hold a gun if you want to, but I don't see why you would, because I don't remember her character ever using a gun, but technically you could have that as an option. And for the last two interchangeable hands, she has these open gesture hands, as I like to call them, because I don't know what this hand gesture represents, but there they are. So those are all the interchangeable hands that she comes with, a total of 6, which is not bad at all. Now, moving on to the last set of accessories, she does come with faceplates. So on the figure, I did swap out one of the faceplates to see how it worked, and I will say this was not a fun experience. Out of all the figures I have with faceplates from this line, I think this one might be the most trickiest because of the way that the hair is sculpted and the way that the faceplate plugs into the head sculpt. It is just such a tricky mess, and I don't like this at all. So, taking a look at the first faceplate here, this is the one on the figure by default. This is the smiling expression, which I actually like how it turned out in terms of the sculpt. And here is the problem with why I don't like the way that the faceplate goes onto the head sculpt. So as you can see right here, there's this little tab on the top. Most of the other faceplates don't have this. I'm assuming this is meant to hold the faceplate in place so it doesn't like pop off easily, which is good. However, when it comes to swapping them, this tab is like stuck on the top part. So when you're taking it out, you need to be very careful, because if you're not, you might actually snap this tab, and that would be really bad, because in the future, well, when you swap the faceplates, it's probably not going to stay in place, which that is the part I don't like about this tab piece, because it seems very fragile. So there is that problem. And there is this faceplate. Now, for the next one here, it is the screaming expression. This is the one where she's using her powers. And the problem with this faceplate I have is that since this figure does not come with any effect pieces to represent that she's using her canary cry, it isn't really effective. Unless you have something like that from some other figures that you bought in the past from other companies, you could create some sort of like sound effect sort of thing to, make it look like she's using her powers. But in this case, not including it with this figure just makes the screaming expression kind of mute, in my opinion, because you lose the flair that she's using her canary cry. But the overall sculpt here is not bad at all. And just like the other faceplate, it does have this tab on the back. So yes, if you are swapping it, do be careful. And that is that faceplate. And for the faceplate that is currently on the figure, this is the serious expression one, which I actually don't hate at all. Now, I know the product images didn't really show this faceplate the best, but seeing it in person, it actually looks pretty nice. So, yeah, that is the one I have on the figure right now. And will I swap the faceplates in this review? I probably will not, because it is tricky. And it took a little bit to actually get the faceplate off, so I'm not going to show a demonstration of this. So I do apologize for not showing that in this review. But do understand that this is just my experience with the faceplate. Maybe you guys have a different experience on your figure. Maybe it's easy to take off. I'm not sure how it goes for every single copy, but there it is. So those are all the accessories that come with Black Canary. And for the last thing that is included, which I don't count as an accessory, you do get the DC figure stand. And the printing for the DC logo for this one has like a metallic paint on it, which is very interesting because they've swapped the paint now. Okay, we're evolving. All right. And that is everything that is included in this box. And now let's move on to the aesthetics of this figure. Taking a closer look at Black Canary here, let's start with the head sculpt. So here's another look at the faceplate I have currently equipped to the figure. And again, I think this faceplate looks fine in hand, and it does in the product images. And overall, it works for representing the serious expression. And having the other faceplate options is nice. It is really rare to see them do faceplates with the collector edition line. Only a few figures have ever gotten faceplates, and I was hoping that would become more of a norm, because since they don't give us alternate head sculpts all too often, faceplates are the better option to go. But yeah, they've been slacking with faceplates for some releases, and that is not good. Now, moving on to the hair sculpt, I think the overall sculpting of the hair here is done nicely. You can see all the strands, and the color choice works because she does have a bright blonde color hair in most depiction of the character. So this actually is accurate to the way she looks in the comics and also in the animated interpretation of the character. And moving on to another detail, she does have this collar thing she wears around her neck, which you can see right there. It is barely visible because of the way that the head is situated on the neck, and the faceplate does hide most of the collar that she's wearing right there. From a distance, you could probably barely see it, but up close, it is present. And is it removable? I'm not too sure, because you would have to pop the head sculpt off to find that out. So yeah, overall the head sculpt is not bad at all. Moving down to the soft goods jacket that she comes with, it is sculpted in a similar way to the one that came with Mr. Terrific, where it is made out of the same material. And I like when they use soft goods like this because it shows that they're pouring more budget into the figure. And that is something that stands out with Black Canary, is that she has more than one soft goods being used. And we will talk about the other one later, but let's focus on the jacket here. So the overall look of the jacket is pretty simple. It's all black. You do have some of the sculpted parts here to show that there is a front part of the jacket that could probably be zipped up, right? But it can't on the figure. So there is that. And when it comes to articulation, I do want to clarify that this will hinder articulation because, as you can see, even though she can move her arm like this, right? When you start moving the arm forward or backward, it is going to be hindered because of the soft goods. And even though it is able to articulate, it will stress out some of the material here, and if you're not careful, it might rip. So yeah, do be careful when you are posing this figure while she's wearing this soft goods jacket. And on the back side, you do have a detail right here, which is printed. It is the Black Canary bird, I believe that's what it is. So yeah, it is printed on nicely on the back and centered. Now, this jacket is removable, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but you can get it off. And I will show what this figure looks like without the jacket. So let's do that later. Now, let's move on to the inner clothing that she's wearing, which looks like a corset of some kind. It is all printed on, right? You do have these black details with the lines and how it goes all the way up to her neck right there. And I think the overall color choice here does work. It blends with the black nicely. And for some retooling, her waist piece right here is a different waist piece from some of the other figures that have reused this mold. And I like that they retooled that to show that these are supposed to be like these short jeans of some kind that have a belt. I don't think they're jeans. I don't know what they are, but it is a sort of pants. There is that, and on the back there are some back pockets on the details right there. And moving on to the next set of cloth goods, we do have the fishnet. And this is why I think the regular version of this figure is better than the platinum, because having the fishnets as a cloth material here for the legs is such a nice touch. When you look back at Zatanna, she did have like some fishnet on some part of her costume, but it was all printed on. So the choice here to make this all cloth is amazing. However, there are some problems. When you do articulate the leg, especially the knees here, because there are double jointed articulation, you do want to be careful, because once again, even though it is soft goods, how long will these hold up over time? I'm not too sure. Even if we're getting her into an action pose, you may rip something here, because this sort of material is very fragile. And when I moved the legs once, when I took it out of the box, I was already scared to like move anything, because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen and I don't want to risk it. So yeah, keep that in mind. But the fact that all of this is cloth is beautiful. And moving down to the lower parts of her legs, you can see that this has also been retooled as well. There are some sculpted details here to show that she's wearing these sort of high boots, as they're called. I'm not sure what they are, but they are all connected, right? So yeah, nicely sculpted down here as well, and I love the retooling. So certain parts of this figure do have some new sculpt. All right, let's take off this jacket. Now, what I would recommend doing is popping off the hands, which seem to be really easy to pop off for this side. Now, this side I haven't tried yet, so I don't know, but you want to pop these off. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, there we go. So there's that. And now you want to move the arm this way, and then you want to basically just start dragging this cloth goods down, and there you go. I'm going to put the figure to the side. Here is the soft goods on its own, and there it is. Here's a better look at the logo on the back, and there is all that. There is the soft goods jacket removed. Now let me just put these hands back onto the figure so she doesn't look like she's incomplete here, and we can take a better look at Black Canary without her jacket. Okay, I got both of the fist hands back on, and here you go. So yeah, her arms are pretty much just bare. She's not wearing any sort of sleeves underneath here because she has the jacket to represent the sleeves. And on the back side of the figure, it does look like a corset, right? Similar to the classic Wonder Woman figure. And also, the head articulation will move a little bit better without the jacket, because I feel like this also hinders the articulation of the head sculpt a little bit. But overall, the hair sculpt here is going to probably affect it the most. So there you have all the aesthetics for Black Canary. Overall, this is a good looking figure, and for a modern Black Canary figure, I don't know what else to recommend for this character. I think this one is worth picking up if you don't have a Black Canary in your collection. So yeah, alright, let's move on now to the articulation. For the articulation of this figure, let's start with the head sculpt. As I said, the hair sculpt is going to hinder some of the articulation with the head sculpt, so let's see if she can look up. No, she cannot. She can barely look up at all, which is not good. Looking down, she can't even look down because I think the faceplate gets in the way. Turning her head left and right, no problems. Tilting her head side to side, also no problems. So overall, the articulation with the head sculpt is very restrictive. Moving down to the articulation of her arms, she can lift out this much. She can swing them back and forth for no problems because she doesn't have the soft goods jacket on. She does have a upper bicep swivel here with the arms, but they barely move. They're like super tight. There is double jointed articulation in the arms. She does have swivel in the hands and wrist articulation, as you can see right there. So yeah, standard articulation with the arms. And moving on to her torso, she has a singular torso. So there is no uppercut here. So all the movement is going to be down here. So when it comes to rotation, she does have full rotation, which is great. And then when it comes to leaning forward, she can't lean forward. Lean back, oh, she can lean back a little bit, which is not too bad. So there we go. That is all the articulation with the torso. Now, moving down to the legs. Does she have the thigh swivels? This leg does. This other leg also has it. That is great. Can she do the splits? Yes, she can. Can she kick out? Oh, I think she can kick out even more. Actually, that is as much as she can kick out. That is actually a decent kick. Still better than some figures. Now, for the articulation down here with her legs, I'm just going to show a little bit of it. Let me just zoom in because, this is how it looks like. But yeah, I don't want to move it too much because as you can see, the fishnet is the problem. And yeah, but you get the point. There is double jointed in the articulation. I mean, we've seen the articulation of these legs before with the Wonder Woman figure that I reviewed like a few weeks ago. So it's the same exact legs, all right? So there is the double jointed articulation right there. And for the feet, she does have, articulation, swivel, and also no toe articulation, which is really strange. This is another figure that does not have that. All right, that is all the articulation for Black Canary. I think she has decent articulation, so you can get her into some action poses. But again, there are some restrictions, right? The head sculpt, the torso, and also the fishnets down here, which will be a problem when it comes to bending her legs. So do be careful when you do articulate this figure. All right, let's move on to the comparisons now. For the first comparison, here is Black Canary next to her lover and spouse, because they have been married in the comics. And of course, that is Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow. And this is the Injustice 2 version, which is the only one I have at the moment. I don't have that comic book version because I just never picked it up. I didn't like the way that it looked because it's not really that close to the source material. And I'm still hoping that they make a better comic book version of Green Arrow as a figure before the line ends. So here's hoping for that to happen. But in terms of this pairing, do they work? I think they do. I think he actually fits nicely with this Black Canary. So there is this first comparison. And for the next comparison, here she is next to Batgirl. Because, as you know, she is a member of the Birds of Prey. She founded this team, and Batgirl is also a part of the Birds of Prey. So, this is a team that I do want to build. I don't think we're going to have every single member, but if we can have at least some of the core members, this is going to be another cool shelf to have. So, there she is with Batgirl, and here she is with Huntress, who is also another member of this team. And as you can see, she is taller than Huntress. There you go. And for the other comparison here she is with Hawkgirl. And I have her on a stand because she does not want to stand at all. So let's just kind of move her and put her in the back. There you go. There are the two comparisons right there. And as you can see, they are reusing the same body bucks. So there is the comparison with Hawkgirl, and Hawkgirl is part of this team as well. She is also a member of the Birds of Prey. There are a lot of members in this team. I did like a wiki search, and I was really surprised to see how many characters were part of it, and it's just crazy. So there is that. And for the last comparison, here she is next to Grid for fun. Let's just have her next to a taller figure. So there you go. Right? All right, and last but not least, let me just show her with the other members of the Birds of Prey all together. So Let me just get these figures back on the table, just make sure she doesn't fall. And let's put Huntress on this side. Okay, careful. I gotta be careful. Sometimes they don't stand, which is kind of the problem. Oh, actually, I don't even think I have enough room back there. Oh, no. All right, let's put her right there. Okay, all right, we're having figures fall, but I do want to show all of them together. So let me try to fit them in frame. Okay, there we go. And here we go. Okay, don't fall. All right, the stand I'm using right now for Hawkgirl is not a good one. It has some QC problems, so that's why she's like leaning to the side, as you can see. But I hope you can see what I'm trying to show here. So yeah, this is a work in progress bird of prey. Birds of Prey team, as I'm trying to correct myself. There are other members. If we do get a comic book Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn figure in the next couple months from now, that would also help out a lot. So there it is, my review of the Mcfarlane Collector Edition Black Canary. If you found today's review informative, do give this video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel for more action figure content and whatever else I do on here, it would be much appreciated. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.